Vigil, a former chief of international operations for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, joins us now live from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Good to see you. And, seeing these images of just the consequences of taking out El Mencho, you've got security forces now saying they've regained control. But Mexico's defense secretary saying El Mencho was located through tracking a romantic partner. I want you to give me a sense of what goes behind these types of operations and how the U.S. was involved in intelligence sharing.
What's behind the operation involving the death of El Mencho was a coordinated effort between the National Guard, the Army, and the Air Force of the Mexican government. They were the ones that developed the primary intelligence that led to the death of El Mencho. You'll recall when Ovidio Guzman, the son of Chapo Guzman, was captured in 2019, the National Guard went into Culiacan, which is the stronghold of the Sinaloa cartel. They captured Ovidio, but they made a big mistake, and they didn't have any air support. In this case, they did send in military attack helicopters, and that made the difference. The combination of a coordinated attack by ground and air resulted in El Mencho's death. It's a very significant operation, and the U.S. government did provide some intel, but the credit actually goes to the Mexican government for this major operation.
Yeah, and Michael, I want you to give me an idea of the kind of power vacuum that has been created, why it's dangerous. When you take out someone right at the top, what does that mean in terms of eliminating the leader and does it essentially dismantle this vast network that is a cartel of this kind?
Well, you'll recall, when Felipe Calderon was president from 2006 to 2012, he came up with a kingpin strategy. And the Mexican government captured and killed about 27 of 32 major cartel leaders. But what they didn't anticipate is that when you kill or capture a leader, normally and historically, the cartel will fragment because you'll have different groups that will fight for control, and that leads to an internal conflict that results in a lot of violence. For example, that is what is currently taking place with the Sinaloa cartel, where you have Chapo Guzman's sons, the Chapitos, fighting against one of the sons of Mayo Zambada for control. And that's led to thousands of deaths, thousands of people who have disappeared. And it's resulted in an economic blow to that area of at least $1 billion.
Wow. I mean, look, President Claudia Sheinbaum calling for calm, and frankly, the security forces saying they've regained control. Do you believe that control has been regained, knowing full well that this power vacuum has been created?
Well, the thing is that they have regained about 90% control. Yesterday, there were about 252 blockades where the cartel, and this is a normal technique of theirs, is to start burning buses, vehicles, and blocking roads. And that led to an advisory by the Canadian and U.S. governments for tourists that were in Mexico to lock down in hotels or wherever they were at.
In terms of the fact that, cartels have been very embedded in Mexican society, and I guess this is something, we've been covering for a very long time, but the reality is that millions of Americans travel to Mexico every single year. And I want you to give me a sense of whether the shift in cartel leadership increases the risks for tourists, because you're hearing the feedback from a lot of the people trapped there and stuck there right now. They said it feels like a war zone. So we're talking about pretty scary scenarios.
It is a war zone. I don't think that this is going to take place for a long period of time until the cartel maybe fragments, but it's safer and that they stay in their hotels and they're not out on the streets or on the roadways because it's highly dangerous. You have to keep in mind that the Jalisco New Generation Cartel operated in 28 of the 32 states in Mexico. They're highly violent and they operated very much like a paramilitary force.
Michael Vigil, great to have you with us. Thank you so much for those insights. Much appreciated for your time, sir.
Thank you.